I had just come out of surgery and my phones were going crazy for new clients looking for property management. The class that we're taking now is to have a 300% revenue in the next 45 days for each property.
That's an aggressive target.
Convincing these homeowners that, we don't have to drop the price to compete with others. It's keep your price where it needs to stay at, even a little bit higher, and then the cheaper your property is, they're going to think something's wrong with it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's a vicious circle, right? You cannot be a hands-off host,
Right.
right? You truly personify the fact that side hustles, more often than not, will never be successful.
If you're given a chance, what would stop you from hiring a third-party vendor who could provide virtual assistants, end-to-end virtual assistants for your business?
With the price difference. I think if you don't have enough properties on hand, then it's not worth it for you. Airbnb and their 5 stars lately are just beyond crazy.
What is that one key advice you would want to give them?
Never give up.
All right, Amanda. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking out the time to speak to us. We are super excited to have a short-term rentals host who is not our client to have this conversation with us. It obviously gives us a different perspective rather than, especially when we are not pitching our services to anyone. And we are super excited to, in a way, get to know you, get to know your journey, and a little bit more on terms of how have you progressed and what kind of pointers you want to give to the listeners who will eventually tuning to this video, especially when we are trying to target them towards fellow short-term rental hosts as well. So that's the overall intent. Mithilesh, if you want to take it over, I will chime in whenever I feel I need to back you up.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Hi. So as Jagnesh mentioned, we'll try to keep everything short and crisp. So before we start further, just wanted to understand a little bit of your journey into the STR business. What exactly inspired you and how you came into this industry?
Well, back in 2017, we opened as a cleaning company. And then when COVID happened, it was February of 2021. I had just come out of surgery and my phones were going crazy for new clients looking for property management, and knew that I had a lot of experience in the local area in Joshua Tree, California. So I wasn't in any shape to take any clients, but I did. I managed to make it work. And we kind of blew up from there. I think April of 2022 was our big turning point, when we had announced that we were officially legally opened as property management and offering everything under one roof. So that our biggest reason of opening it was because, as cleaners, we're tasked with the force of doing a lot of property management jobs, and it's our job to make sure that the house is ready to go. And we heard a lot of complaints from homeowners and just people that were tired of having to have multiple different companies coming in and out of the house. So that's what inspired us to open. And then, all the perks that come with it as well and everything like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now, the option of opening the same in both California and Florida. So, did you have two different teams available over there, or as the journey progressed, you started the organization or the company over there too?
We do. We have a California team, and she basically manages all of our cleanings out there, and she manages the properties. Like, she's an assistant manager for the company, and she does amazing. Her name's Leanne, and she's boots on the ground for us out there. So she takes care of that, and then
So
Florida, we're open all over the state of Florida, and we do have a big clientele list that is coming in. We do have a big list now, but there's more getting added to it. And we just started to partner with Voyage, and they are a travel agency who has a lot of properties, and they didn't want no part of property management. So they came to us and asked us to take over everything. And that included property management. So we're taking on all of those, and The good thing about Voyage is they're listed on 27 different apps. It's not just Airbnb, Booking, Hotel.com. It's 27 different apps that people can get. And then we are now, my office manager is in the middle of taking a class because she does a lot of the behind the scenes for us, and she takes care of a lot of contracts and everything.
Hmm.
And she's currently in the middle of taking a class for the company. And the class that we're taking now is to have a 300% revenue in the next 45 days for each property.
That's an aggressive target.
Yeah, it is.
That's
It
an
is.
aggressive target.
We started it with one property and it's gone great. I think we have 3 days open in March that I think are sitting there pending somebody accepting the booking request now. So it's exciting to see it happen to one property, and then convincing these homeowners that, we don't have to drop the price to compete with others. It's keep your price where it needs to stay at, even a little bit higher, and then the cheaper your property is, they're going to think something's wrong with it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
It's a vicious circle, right? I mean, when you don't get the booking, the tendency to go in and drop the rates to fill in the empty dates on the calendar it's a very, very tricky tendency to control.
It
And
is.
and we do face that with some of our existing clients, right? When it's getting closer to those days, the end of the week is coming up, the dates are empty, and then they'll come back and drop the rate, and we'll say,
Yep.
hold on
So
for another 30 minutes. Let's not
you
do that.
you get a better better guest as well. Well, I shouldn't really say that because we have a huge historical building out here in Daytona that we do, and it's from the 1800s, and it stayed all the same. They've just, all natural wood floors in there. The only thing that they've done is like painted up the house and changed some of the appliances to update those. But the last two guests we've had there, and we're charging $800 a night there. And the last two guests that have come in have been atrocious. But usually we don't have any problems when you're paying $800 to $900 a night. You get better guests.
I agree.
And it's not even just with your bigger homes, even your smaller homes, like some people are booking them at $75 a night, and that's just unrealistic. Like that doesn't scream nice house. So
Right, so Mithilesh, I do have one question for Amanda before you follow up with your question. So, Amanda, the fact that you have an all under one roof operation, right? You have property management that looks at the properties plus short-term rentals. Do y'all focus more on medium-term rentals or long-term rentals, or are y'all happy with short-term rentals?
we are happy with short-term rentals, but we also are getting into midterm and long-term as well. I have a few out in LA, and the LA laws out there are a lot different. So even, that they just make up their own rules, and it could change every day. So um, we are focusing. It is a consistency with funding, like it's a consistent paycheck if you have somebody doing a long-term rental or a short-term rental, a long or mid-term rental. That's like a 6-month pocket in your money in your pocket every month. And then you have, if they do a 12-month, and something that we're seeing a lot of is nurses doing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
One follow-up question. Sorry, Mithilesh, I keep saying one last, and I keep coming up with one more. Now, Amanda, without divulging any strategy details for your business, eventually, if the midterm and long-term business does see a better uptake as compared to short-term rentals, would you be open to the idea of one day probably focusing only on this section, or would you still want to go after all three?
I think depending on how I've told every homeowner for the last 3 years, we have to get through until April of 2025. And that is when we're going to see a difference in the market. And I firmly believe that we're going to get back to where we were during COVID. And if that's the case, then I will stay with just the short term and do midterm. But I also, the guaranteed money is what I like, and the guaranteed paycheck, and not, what is this property going to get me this month or next month, but I do have a lot of success stories from that. And I think this year is going to be our year that we try it out in California with just strictly long term. And I had a talk with my brother, and I think that's going to be a partnership him and I dive into in the next month.
Fair enough. Right,
Yeah.
Mitlesh, I'm done with
Makes
my set of
sense.
questions.
Sure. So Amanda, coming over to the success stories, as you mentioned, definitely we'd love to hear later down the line. Initially, wanted to understand from you the operational challenges what you have faced, because moving from a cleaning company and taking over the entire property management, handling the entire operations, getting into the stuff. Wanted to check with you what are some of the challenges what you face, majorly like during the guest communication and coordinating services.
I think the biggest challenge we face is the pricing every day, because right now we're not on the systems. Like, I'm going in every day and changing pricing. I don't believe in using price labs. I don't believe in using those. Every time I have them on a property, the property doesn't get booked. And as soon as I remove it, the property gets booked up. A lot of people have agreed with me on that, but then I also have a few that say otherwise, and it works great for them, but it didn't work great for me. I think that is our challenging issue. And I'll go around the whole within like a 5 mile radius and check and see what people are pricing for those homes and that size home. But I think with us partnering with Voyage, it's going to take a lot of workload off of us, and I won't be doing that anymore. Voyage will, and we will have a lot more free time to adventure off into other things that we want to do. The goal, we still run the cleaning team, and being the owner of the cleaning company, I will be honest, it is still, these cleaners don't want to go to work every day. And when you have, 10 to 15 turnover, sometimes you need to get out there and still work. So it's managing everything from the top down. That whole circle is crazy when you manage it all. It, the phone calls in the middle of the night, that can be challenging. Or the time difference from here to Cali is challenging as well. Sometimes you get door locks that won't open, or,
Right.
yeah. So
Isn't that the classic thing that more often than not, I mean, at least that's what we've observed in the teams that offer 24/7 support to our clients, that more often than not, the calls that come in the evening part of their shift is usually when someone's not able to get through the home
Yep.
because the door locks don't work. I mean, I somehow feel that these are jinxed. These times are sort of jinxed.
I like the way you call it classic.
Well, our maneuver to fix that is in our new contracts that we drew up for 2025, and for the new company that is launching in the next week or two. It is going to include that they have to have a key outside with a lockbox, so that we can avoid this issue.
Makes sense.
Another thing I think that we run into is guests just don't read the welcome message, and my code doesn't work. Well, did you read the welcome message? So that is another thing that we run into. I think on maintenance side, we have that under control. I think because I'm hands-on and I'm involved in the properties daily, that we don't have issues that a lot of other people are facing. So
I think that's the advantage, right, of carrying that experience, always been involved, hands-on. And I think that should be the key takeaway up till now for anyone who tunes in, that you cannot be a hands-off host, right? I mean, it's so easy to have this as a side hustle and treat it as a side hustle. And that's when people start seeing the business going down, the guest reviews are not as great, the cleaners are taking you for a ride, because everyone knows that this is just a side hustle for you. And you truly, truly personify the fact that side hustles, more often than not, will never be successful unless you are invested completely in it. And thank you for, again, in a way, solidifying that belief that I and Donald and Mithilesh have, that unless you invested 100% in any venture, it just doesn't work. So thank you for that.
Side hustles, as the name indicate, it gives you side income, right? It's not the main income, or you cannot call it business until you get out of that mentality of treating it as a side hustle. Yeah.
Right.
You're
Right.
not enjoying it. You're not enjoying it, and you shouldn't be doing something that you don't enjoy, and
Right.
definitely it won't work out.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they get into it as a part-time gig, but it's not really a part-time gig. It's literally a 24/7 job.
Oh yeah.
Vacations, you're on the phone, you're dealing with everything. And for me, I don't really consider myself taking time off or having a day off, because no matter what, if the phone call comes in, a potential new client, I have to take it, because that is my livelihood. That is how I support my family. And if I can't work every day, then my family goes without.
Agree.
So,
Agree.
and I mean, it is good money. And I think that's why I would rather do this than work a 9 to 5 job. And when you get where you want to get, it's worth it. I helped a friend. He took a lot of my clients. I had closed down for a year, and he took a lot of my clients, and he
Yeah.
took nothing company and built it from the ground up and made $2 million in 1 year. So
That's interesting.
yeah, I mean, it's out there. The money's there, but you have to actually be able to invest your time into it. You have to be able to give up things to make it. So,
Definitely.
True
mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, so Amanda, over here, I would like to ask you, I understand that you're managing the business independently. Have you
Mhm.
ever considered the virtual assistants to streamline your tasks or things like that? And have you
Yes,
been introduced?
we have.
How was the experience?
Um, we didn't go with it last year, and I think this year, now that we signed the contract tonight at 8 p.m. with Voyage, I think that it's going to be best for us to do that, just because
Mhm.
I think things are going to be getting out of control, and we're going to need that assistance 24/7. I'm only one person, and I have kids and a family, so I have to make sure that I have a little bit of space every day for them too, and do that family stuff as well. But I think when we are looking at, over 100 properties, we're going to need that assistance. And it's definitely something that we're looking into in the near future, probably in the next month or two.
Awesome. So
Makes
then
sense.
I should then leave a small little sparrow in your ear that says, hey, when you do make that decision, don't forget Donald.
Donald, I'll get the handcuffs,
Yeah.
okay?
There is a follow-up and very interesting question that's coming up from my end, which definitely is going to pinch Yagnesh and Mithilesh, because these are the guys behind the operations. So I keep asking this to my clients: hey, what stops you from hiring? If you're given a chance, what would stop you from hiring a third-party vendor who could provide virtual assistants, end-to-end virtual assistants for your business, so that you are free to do whatever you what you want to do, like go shake hands with the property owners, build your portfolio, and leave the guest messages and the cleaner coordination, and all the admin tasks that you could imagine, which could be taken care of virtually, to these people who are experienced. What would stop you? What are the red flags of you not wanting to work with any such people?
Sorry, the kids are outside playing. Yeah, I think my biggest turn off on it was having last year, when we looked into it last summer, I had reached out to quite a few of them and reached out online, and it was the price difference, and it was like, why is this one person this and this other person is way more? So it was like, what? And then they just I think if you don't have enough properties on hand, then it's not worth it for you. But if you do, and you see your future getting big, and you're signing those $50,000-$60,000 contracts with other companies, that you need that assistance. And there's not enough hands here that could help us. I mean, we need to sleep at some point. And if that's the case, and we're going nationwide like we plan to do in the next month, then we're going to need that help. But I think when I first opened in Florida, it was a culture shock here from California. It was a totally different, sorry, they're over there playing, throwing balls at the window. So so I think that was what stopped us. Was I was trying to get used to being in Florida, and the different pricing, and just the different everything that they had going on. I think that's what stopped me then.
Okay. And what about apart from pricing, would you, a lot of times hiring overseas operations team could limit you to a few things. I mean, have you ever come across these kind of instances where you came across someone from India or maybe Philippines or someone in Mexico,
I did
places
have
like?
somebody from India working. He was I was a property manager for a company, and they had somebody from India that would also be my backhand man. My problem was the time difference. When I needed an answer, I needed this or I needed that taken care of, then they weren't there. So that's what we were running into. But I think with our Florida team and our California team, and then hiring somebody from overseas, it might make some of it a lot easier, because our California team's up, 3 hours more than what we are here on these coasts.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it gets, I think it'll help us out with the way that we are venturing off and the new contracts that we have coming in and everything. I think it's definitely going to help then.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. But I also think that if it's a small new company, then they should probably make sure that they have the clientele to pay for that monthly and make sure that they can do that.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Fair point. Fair
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because if you don't have the income, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like we understand this particular point because we've been supporting vacation rental owners since 2012, I guess. And I'm not trying. Yeah, I might be sounding like I'm pitching, but then I wanted to bring this out to you so that it goes out on the video and the other platforms as well. So our pricing starts as low as $4 an hour for trained, experienced VA plus a backup VA and a supervisor, a shared supervisor, right? So all in, because we've been managing multiple listings, so it's easy for us to give that kind of offer. And we've been running this offer since last 5 to 6 years. I mean, the prices are same, and that's how we've been able to work with the property owners and the hosts since then, since we started. Moreover, these VAs are just not limited to guest concierge and cleaner coordination or maintenance coordination. They do anything and everything that comes on their way. Whatever they can solve virtually. And now my clients, like they are in love with the VAs more than the company.
Yeah.
So we have very low margins at that price, and we give opportunities to the VAs also to grow there. And we don't have contracts. I mean, this is one big part. We don't bind our clients with contracts where we simply tell them that, hey, if you want to put a pause on the operations, just give us a heads up at least like a month before, so that we could utilize the VA somewhere else, because the VAs are on fixed salaries no matter what. Some people are really happy with that, and some people still want to have more flexibility. And then we say, hey, how about you don't have to hire us 24/7 or maybe like 8 hours fixed, 16 hours fixed. You can always club that up with something called as pay as you go or pay per transaction, where you give us a few fixed hours and then club it with pay per transaction, where we have our folks. We charge you per transaction or per task that we attend for you.
Okay.
That way,
Yeah.
that way, you when you don't have anything to be done, you're not paying us for that. Like per guest messages that and the prices are absolutely competitive than anybody else on the market. And we've been ranking #1 on Google all this while just because of this. For the main fact, our entire operations is in India.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, we do have our LLC in America, but then the operations are in India, and we could play with the costs because, hey, I mean, you understand that.
You can play with it.
Yeah.
No,
So,
we've definitely spoke about it, and we definitely are leaning towards it. And I mean, I think it would be a great opportunity to possibly jump on board with each other. We, especially with the new contracts we have we're signing tonight, that are supposed to go into effect tonight and tomorrow, and things will be blowing up over the next few weeks. We've also contracted with the whole Simple AI to see where that
Right.
brings the business. And, that's supposed to be a revenue of like $60,000 a month, just from having AI run your system. And so that's going to be pretty neat experience as well.
Absolutely. AI is the next big thing, and the sooner you adopt it, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
Even so, yeah, that's a good move. And I remember you talking about the big announcement that you wanted to do.
I think she
Yep.
just made that.
Oh, you
Yep.
did?
Yep.
I
We are
missed that.
expecting.
Would you like to elaborate a bit on that one? That's on property
So
management side.
had quite a few competitors that were offered the job, and some way or another they decided to go with us.
Mhm.
It was a nerve-wracking day. I don't even know how, but the meeting got pushed out about 30 minutes, and it was a disaster. But at the end of the call, the owner of Voyage had decided that he wanted to go with our company, and so we came to an agreement. And I think we had taken a lot of classes in the last few weeks, my office manager and I, to get the company because we have jumped on the $1 million journey again for 2025. And we're hoping that we can increase that a little bit and hit over 1 million, but a
You
million
did.
is our dream for 2025. And I think in the next few months, with everything that's happening, we can probably hit it. And I've gotten very close before, so we'll do it again. And we will I think that partnering with Voyage is going to be an experience. And then the whole AI thing, I'm looking forward to the vacations with my children and not having to do as much, especially if we hire on with you guys and have you guys take over some of the work. Um, my goal is to have us set up by May, and I'm just done completely working, and I can just sit back and, as Voyage says, they want me to be the face of their company. So,
Even better.
yeah, so they don't want me to do anything besides, go to meetings. And they only take 5%, so we can go in at our own cost. I think what we're running into now is a lot of cleaners are doing property management jobs for free. So that's where we're running
Right.
but that property falls, they all do, because they let things slip through the cracks and they're not on it like us hands-on people are. And if I can clone myself and have somebody else go out and do what I do, I absolutely would.
I agree. I agree.
But I love it. I'm excited to see what happens. And another thing is as we set a goal, if a property is not going to bring us in over $10,000 worth of revenue a month, we're probably not going to take them. Because if you want that high end name and you want that high end reputation, you can't be working with lower end homes. And if the homeowners aren't willing to put in the extra money to make that home a high end, and see a 45 days a $300 increase from us doing the job, then I don't really think that we should hold that space up from somebody else that is willing to do that. And
Totally agree.
when you get to that point and you have these offers coming in, you have to make a decision, and you have to decide who you're going to keep and who you're going to let go. And, I'll still offer my free 30-minute classes once a week that we're going to start back up doing. But I think it'll be more geared towards us getting in and showing how we're doing that 300 profit revenue in 45 days.
Makes
And
sense.
I think that's going to be a big thing that helps us blow up, is showing
That's an interesting thing. Like it's worthy enough to be circulated in Facebook groups that are related to short-term rentals.
It is. And there's so many notes. Because I've been taking the classes, the guy gave me the $900 book for free, and I've been thumbing through it all week, and I'm going to thumb through it and probably do like another 3 hours tonight of studying on it. And the information is just stuff that you would have never thought to look at. And it's easy. It's a quick 5-minute job. And I looked at numbers on one property, and we kind of test trialed it with that. And I messaged the homeowner and I said, just go in and increase these prices, and don't just go in and increase them to this on this day and this day. And he says, well, why are we doing it? I said, just do it. We're testing your property out. And it worked. It's a beautiful home, and it was at a lower end cost, and it should have been at a higher end cost. And I think that we're going to see a big turnaround in the guests that are checking in.
Makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's exciting. And I mean, if we jump on board together here in the next month working together, that's going to be also something that you guys will be involved in as well, that you guys could probably take and use on your own properties. So, and now that you're investing so much money into your company, you got to make sure that you're pricing it right, because you got to get that revenue back. And this work
Agreed.
is not free, and a lot of people don't understand the amount of work that we're doing. We're on the phone 24/7. We're constantly advertising. We're constantly doing this or that, and I think that's why Voyage decided to go with us, because he said, like, you're a hustler. You're always out there advertising. You're doing this. You're doing that, and I even advertise our cleaners cleaning homes. Like,
Wow.
we do everything. And I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, if that's an opportunity you guys want to get in on, then that's what we can discuss. And Don, we can plan a meeting or something to discuss it after we get everything going in the next week or two, and then get going. And then maybe next month you guys can help take over some spots.
We
Absolutely,
could see
yes.
a lot going on there, and we really appreciate how you've been able to take care of all of these with the experience that you have. It's not easy, is what I
Yes.
wanted to tell. It's
No.
really not easy. We've seen people burning their hands and probably exiting, just quitting sometimes, and calling the business doesn't work
Mhm.
sometimes like that. We've seen a lot of business owners trying to mimic the other folks on, and then trying to set up a property or two and then running out of business pretty soon because they don't understand it really takes a real human
Mhm.
to be able to understand humans
Yeah.
and letting them work with you because you cannot go far alone.
No. No,
You
you
know,
and it's
yeah,
overwhelming. Like, you're just one person, you get burned out. And there are some times where we just have to suck it up, and a lot of people don't understand that some of the work
yeah.
we do for free,
Oh
just to
yeah.
get our name
Exactly.
out. People don't understand that, and people are just kind of, well, this or that. But I'm not doing any more free work for nobody. That is
Well,
my.
I'm glad that this is a tough business right now. We don't want too many people into it.
I mean, are you guys nervous about like the things that are changing with Airbnb? Does that make you guys nervous? Have you guys thought about getting on other platforms because of that, with all the
Oh,
new rules and regulations?
yeah, absolutely. Like
Mhm.
we started working on getting automated, like automating things at this side of the business probably like 3 years ago, and we started working on developing our own AI agents for inbounds, outbounds, and that could work pretty closely with the humans. We didn't want to fire our folks who are diligent to us, someone who's loyal and diligent to us, and our clients are always going to have jobs with us. And we are slowly preparing our teams to accept the fact that, hey, we got to work with artificial intelligence to double things up, to improve the quality of the kind of responses that go out on time, right? It's very important. So, yes, we are just not stuck to Airbnb. We totally understand it's very important to have your own brand, like
Mhm.
giving importance to your websites or direct booking web pages. So we do have an IT team that works pretty closely with our clients, helping them go after their direct booking websites and optimizing their web pages and listings over there. So that's a marketing team. That's not an admin team. Again, the costings are very subsidized. So
Mhm.
we're on it. We're on it. Like I said, we are totally on the trends, and we want to understand what's going on. What are the pain points, and how can we support the business owners rather than just thinking only about us. Uh,
Right.
so yes, it's not only Airbnb and Vrbo and Booking.com. There are a few more, definitely. Of course, Google has its own platform where you can list your properties, and then similar to Google, there are a few more, and nothing lesser than your direct booking website.
I mean,
That's a brand that you would want to
yeah.
have forever.
I'm excited to see how, these 27 different, plus our own direct booking site that is getting built right now. So I'm
Right.
excited to see how the other platforms are going to do, but I've seen the numbers and it's incredible.
They
Um,
are.
it's incredible. So I'm just fingers crossed that in April, we're going to see, a difference in who people are going to be taking a lot more vacations. I think that the economy is going to be where we had it a few years ago, and I think that it's going to flourish the way that it did.
We definitely want to put your listings and showcase your properties here amidst our talk, so that we can show how beautiful your properties are once we get the details. Definitely.
Absolutely, yes.
And then I look forward to like potentially working together in the future with you guys, taking over some of the workload, and it'll be nice.
I think what actually makes us so sorry,
I'm sorry. Please go on.
What makes us so confident that we can be a part of your journey is the fact that Mithilesh handles Mitten Housing, which is our biggest client from a listings perspective, and we give them a 24/7 support, right? On the corporate housing side, we work with United Corporate Housing, taking care of their utility management services to ensure that the guest check-in is absolutely spot on the day they check in. You're running a pilot with National Corporate as well right now to offer a similar kind of service for them. We've worked with Open Door between 2017 till 2020, and then we worked with Orchard, and that was until 2025 January. Because we worked with these larger brands, it's easier for us to understand the fact that the quality of service is extremely important when it comes to one, winning our clients' trust and eventually retaining them with us over a period of time, right? So the Open Door was with us for almost 3.5, 4 years. Orchard started off in 2020, late 2021, and was with us till 2025. UCA started off in mid 2023, and they are with us, and they're absolutely not showing any signs of wanting to leave us away. So I think that gives us the confidence of coming in all confident and saying that no, we believe that if you eventually are looking for a partner that can deliver quality service, we deserve that shot once, right? Now, enough of our pitching, and coming back to our questions. So I have a couple, and I'll quickly run them through because I've sort of organized them. Now, you did mention that city regulations can be tricky, and LA is a monster in itself when they come up with their own interesting regulations every now and then. One, does that intimidate you? And two, how do you keep up with them?
I myself, or the office manager, or one of the managers, is always looking to check the new updates on rules, regulations, city hall meetings, and what's being decided for short-term vacation rentals. It's a lot of work, but we get it done. I think that there's some areas that I just don't even want to touch because they're so strict. If it's a homeowners association, I won't touch it unless it's like PGA West or something, or PGA, anything that's like that we'll deal with. But any like a residential home like that, I don't want to mess with it, just because it's so tricky, and you could potentially lose your license and your listings for every property and not just that one.
So one needs to be very strategic, right? Correct. So if I get you correct, one has to be very strategic in terms of understanding these regulations and then picking what properties you really want to work with or have in your portfolio, rather than going all guns blazing and say, I'll pick this, I'll pick this, I'll pick this, I'll do everything.
Right? So we just ensure that it's in a nice neighborhood. We do have a lot of people that come from the neighborhoods are not safe or anything. And it's, we have to price it at that level. And like a beautiful home that, could be $500-600, to $1,000 a night. And because of the location, we got to put it 100 and something. I just don't feel that's fair when the homeowner can sit there and do the pricing itself and just do price labs on it, because no matter what we do, the location's not going to change. And I think our goal is to have those bigger high-end homes, but also have another section of our company that works with just those smaller homes as well. But the quality of work that you have to give is the same all the way around, but one home might need more help and hands-on than the other smaller homes do.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And here's the interesting one. So you did mention some time back that while you would want to continue with short-term rentals, but long-term rentals definitely guarantee that recurring revenue, right? And your point of view, in a way, was validated by AirDNA when they just published a study which states that long-term rentals will be the next step forward, especially from a growth perspective. So I think even before I could bring up that question, you sort of were 10 steps ahead of us, and you knew this trend was actually coming in, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we keep telling people hustles will not work. She's invested. That's why she knows these trends even before one could bring those trends up, right? Now, LA fires. The world saw, we in India saw them, saw the pictures. One of our clients sort of got impacted, but not completely. And we were really, really happy and hoping that everything works out fine, and it did. How did it impact you? The fact that you do opt out of LA. I mean, did it have any impact?
We personally, houses in LA did not get affected like that we have, but our houses in Joshua Tree did. We had, it's an off season. We're getting into our busy season up there because of the national park. We had a lot of people fleeing from LA and going up to that area, and it was finding enough houses. I was on all of the Facebook pages, who has an open home, who has this, who has that, and housing firemen down in LA. It was vice versa. It didn't matter if they were fleeing LA or if they're going there to fight the fires. We had to house them all. And, some of them were discounted. Some homeowners just didn't care, but that's not a choice that we get to make. We have to follow what the homeowners want. And all of ours, we did offer late checkouts, and, we offered everything that we possibly could. We unlocked storage units for these people. Some people were going home to no homes, and it was like what they came with was all they had. And we do have quite a few people that are, even the hurricanes down here in Florida, we lost over 90% of our business.
Wow.
Yeah, when they hit, we lost 90% of our business. We had 8 properties in one building, and the whole place was gone. And then a few properties down the road, and it was just Siesta Keys. We got hit the first one, and then we got hit the second one, and it was just, I'm still recouping. Some of them are just not reopening.
Exactly.
And it's traumatizing. I mean, this is our income too. This is how we make a living. And it's like one day you wake up and your house is gone. And, or it's how many people can we get here to fix this in the next 30 days? I mean, at one point we were talking about flying our California crew out to Florida to assist. Yeah.
But I think you could make that decision because, again, you have a team that is dedicated to you and can actually move places when you ask them to. The reason I brought up that point is because one of our clients based out of Florida went down under because of the hurricane. He just couldn't recover out of it.
You gotta stay because, there is places in Florida, like we have Tallahassee. We still have those properties. They weren't affected. Yes, is it bad? Yes, it is. But if you keep your foot in there and you just keep hustling and working the way I do, then you're going to keep your revenue up because you're going to continuously have clients coming in. And in the last just in the last week, just because I advertised so much, we've blown up just from that. And that was another hard part coming from California to Florida was I was very well known in California, all over, all the way up to Lake Havasu. And that was in Nevada and Arizona, and moving out to a place that you didn't know anything and starting life all over and opening a company was terrible. But I wanted to give up, but I didn't. And then I think that, the hurricanes out here, it's stressful because, we are getting back up to that season here soon.
Yes.
If you got enough that are out of that flood zone, you'll do okay.
One just has and I think that's the point you made some time back, that you need to be strategic with the properties that you pick. It's just not whether the house is good. If the location is going to be in a hurricane impacted zone, common sense says don't do this because it will hit you hard when it does.
It does. And, if you have the crew like we do, that, this year, hopefully we'll be more prepared and we have a bigger crew out here that can help take care of that. But it's not even just that. It was the insurance. You're waiting, these people out here in Siesta Keys, they waited until January to get the insurance people out there.
Wow.
So from October to January with live wires sitting on the house because you just couldn't get there, or the insurance were just way too backed up and it took months for them to get out there.
It's just the trickiest.
But you still stood the grounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It tells me the story of Elon Musk. Like I'm inspired by that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to blow off his rockets. Still stand the grounds.
Now,
great.
You did bring up the point that as you are expanding the business, you're also looking to bring in certain AI systems to sort of help you reduce the load, etc., which means you're open to the use of technology. Now, a few days back, I did come across a video on a YouTube channel called Robuilt. The creator typically talks about how to automate your short-term rentals business. Is a big fan of Guesty. Now, something that one of the points that he brought up on the video that I saw was the fact that he was okay with the idea of automating guest messages, messages to cleaners, etc. Now, I understand automated messages going out to the vendor staff, that it's okay to not have a lot of personalization, but guests, are you for or are you against the idea of automating guest messaging?
So I have like a direct message that goes out when they immediately book, and then we get in there. I feel like the more not the more communication, but the more interaction you have, the better chance of that 5-star is. Because no, Airbnb and their 5 stars lately are just beyond crazy, and expectations are beyond what they should be. And it doesn't matter what a guest says, you're lucky if you can get somebody to change it. But we do have somebody that reaches out to Airbnb, and I think he's from India.
Okay.
Yeah. But he reaches out to Airbnb and he deals with that, because some of these are we ensure that every cleaning, there is a timestamped location, video, everything. So that when they come in and they make up those false claims, we can just hand those directly into Airbnb. And that's where he comes in and he's very handy with.
Even better. Now, from my experience, you probably operate into the most trickiest market in the short-term rental space. California, Los Angeles, and then you all through the state in Florida. You've given a lot of meaningful advice already. But what's that one key point you would want to know for anyone who probably would decide to say, I will start a short-term rentals business? What is that one key advice you would want to give them?
Never give up. Never give up. No matter how hard life gets, you never give up. I went through a very eventful year and I had to take a step back because I mentally didn't want to ruin my reputation because of personal life things that were happening. And if you can keep going, and you got to have the right people around you too. Like if you have a Debbie Downer around you, that's what you're going to attract. You need people that are going to build you up. You need people that are going to be by your side and help you overcome. It gets tough. Like these are tough areas. They're the most traveled areas in the United States, and the competition don't lower your value for anything. And that's been something that I've struggled with. And having my family step in, and I've handed that part over because I'm too nice and I'm worth more than, for free. So don't just value yourself and never give up. That's what I can say for those areas, because you can turn a company from nothing into millions of dollars if you put your all into it.
All into it. So that tells me, I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs go with that mentality that it's all going to be only practical decisions, not emotional. I mean, a lot of people talk about this. You cannot get emotional with your decisions when you're running a business. But listening to your story and a few more YouTube videos around, I know that you got to have that emotional quotient to be able to stand your grounds even when no one is there. Like, you have nothing. You got to
Yep.
build things right from the scratch one more time.
Yep.
It could be really, really intimidating because you were on the heights
Yep.
and you were pulled down,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
to the ground, and you don't know where to go, but you
Yep.
still got to figure your way out. You got
Mhm.
to study the markets while keeping everything and everyone intact. So it definitely takes emotional quotient. Other than that, if you're trying to be too practical that you want to quit when nothing's working, this game is not for you.
Right. Because
Yeah.
it's mentally draining. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've had clients, who are not happy with my decision and they didn't answer their phone in time. You have to make a decision, but if you
Yeah.
make that decision without their approval, you have to stand by that decision. You can't go back and change it now. So, um, it's just, I'm a very emotional person. I have a lot of emotions. I love my
I
job.
could see that.
I do. And that's why this time around, we're going to do it the right way and have the right people to step in when they know that I'm going to probably get taken advantage of in like making contracts or, talking pricing or just anything. And I catch myself like, no, we're not doing that. What are you thinking? No. She paying us for that? No. And I catch myself saying it now because I think the trauma that I went through and having to close down. I mean, it was like my baby. I built this company from nothing to
Right.
here. And, we had a lot of clients. We had at one point 60 clients and it was lovely. But I think it was a test in faith as well. At the same time, I think I blew up overnight and I feel that it was taken away from me just as fast as I got it. And I think this opportunity to open back up and come back into this world after things calm down, um, I want to do it the right way and definitely do things a lot different than I did before and have the right team behind me.
Right team.
Yep.
Right.
And I wasn't used to a team then. It was just me. So now I know I can't take on the world and build my my tower the way that I want it by myself. So you have to have the right team. You have to have the right partners with you. And I think it'll
Right.
be amazing. I think this new turnaround and things that are getting done behind the scenes in the next week or two are going to make us flourish. And I think that having the right support right now is the best thing that I could have ever have done.
Perfect.
Mhm.
I think we've covered every possible spectrum with you, and I still feel that I want to have even longer conversations with you. But I'm not going to steal any further of your time. But it
We're
rarely happens between me and Donald that we we are left speechless. Donald's a man of a lot of words, a truckload of words.
I'm glad that Don, you gave me the opportunity to do this with you guys today. It was great.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
I'd want to say I'd rather want to say thank you, thanks to you, because probably this is one of a kind that we're trying to have a real conversation, talking real pain points and real failures, and
Mhm.
then
the success out of
we,
that.
we, we've never seen any client or a prospect talking about this out loud and is brave enough to get this posted online,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people don't want to be identified as someone who does cry sometimes
Mhm.
behind the scenes. I
Yep.
mean, they want to come across like that Iron Man who never cries. Well, that's not possible. Okay, if you're trying to be that, well, because you're going to bring that same aura
You're
and
not in this world.
intimidate your people,
Yeah.
and then we're really thankful that you got in with us. And I would say there are a lot of many things to talk about. What we would do is, like, every time you hit a milestone, you might want to just let us know.
Yeah.
We would want to bring your journey and the learnings over
Mhm.
here online, not only to be able to guide the other business owners who really, really want to make it a business, but also letting the guests, someone who's wanting to book your properties.
Yep.
These someones could be immigrants from India, all right, and who the students who travel to the U.S. or the YouTubers or the travelers, tourists who go to the United States and are looking for Airbnb. We have tons of them reaching us. Hey, would you recommend? So we would want them to know there are people like this who care about their guests, definitely care about their team. It simply means that they would definitely care about their guests, right?
Yep.
So it works hand in hand, and we would want to record people's journey. Like
Yes.
it starts from you.
And I've had a few offers because like I've had a lot of
I'm sure.
trials in my personal life, and that affected me and my company, and that's when I had to take a mental break and step back to deal with life. But now this year we came in and it was going to be an open book. It's going to be an open book. It's going to be a journey, and it's going to be documented. I think in the next month we have our influencers, camera people coming, and it's just going to be like a day in Amanda's life. And like it's going to be interesting. And I think because of the trauma that I've had and the experiences that I've had in the last 2 years, my advice to anybody is just because things get rough, it doesn't mean they can't get better.
They do.
Don't give up, because if you ever get into a point where I was, this can turn your life around, and you can meet some of the best people in the world doing this.
Absolutely. One life, one short.
Yep.
Nothing to lose, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we'd want you to definitely take break with your kids. Sometimes definitely, I keep telling this to my best of the clients. It's like we are trying to welcome people here to India, but we like to have guests like the clients come into India and explore, meet the teams, and explore the city and explore the country, and at the same time know people and maybe expand things. You never know what's going on because Airbnb.
I'm definitely thinking about it. If things go the way that they're supposed to go in the next 4 to 6 months, I definitely will be letting you guys know if that's my adventure.
Oh yeah, definitely. We in India, people in India, I mean, definitely, and we are one of those. So we like to host our partners and our clients. Like we're very excited and very welcoming because again, the cost is not as costly as United States. You
It's
see,
not.
so
It's insane.
and the people are really really welcoming. So anytime you're planning to come down to India, maybe for expansion, maybe for just a vacation, we are here. We can take care of most of your things. Like you just have to book your plane tickets, and we are here to receive you,
Perfect.
take you around the city, and host you.
Yep. I will
Absolutely,
look
yes.
forward to it. And I look forward to hopefully we can start working together in the next month, or hopefully by mid-April, we can get
Look
you
forward.
guys working and trying out these new systems that we're taking a big leap of faith in.
No problem.
Perfect.
So we're now going to have you as an official trainer, entrepreneur who would probably we like to record your takes on the movements and the changes in the business. From time to time we might come bugging you like, hey, do you want to do this video on this topic? I
No,
hope you
I'll
don't mind.
absolutely do it. They said that this year is the year of my open book. So yep, it's the truth of all the trials and error that get you there. So that's what they say.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much
guys.
for devoting for sparing your time amidst this busy schedule of yours. And thank you for sharing your emotional perspective and journey. It was very emotional, and at the same time I could see the emotions coming out, and we love it. And we wish you all the best. And at the same time, we know that you would make it because it tells us all your story that you've been strong and you will be strong.
Yep. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the opportunity. And Donald, I'll message you over some information to see if maybe we want to partner together on some
Anytime. I'm up for
Perfect.
it.
Bye. It was nice meeting you.
Take
Pleasure.
care, Amanda.
Bye.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye.